How's it going, everybody out there? My name is Jakejames Lugo and welcome to the channel. So today I got something a little bit special and different for you guys because this just kind of came out at random, and because I had my birthday not too long ago, it was actually a cool, neat little surprise. So today in this vlog, I'm actually going to be doing an unboxing and a review of this right here, the PlayStation Classic. Now, I have to give a big shout out to my brother and my sister-in-law for getting me this as a gift. Big thanks to Adonis and Amanda for that. Again, this was like a really random gift that they didn't have to do that, but they did it for me anyway because they know I love gaming collectibles. So big shout out to them for this. Anyway, let's just dive right into this unboxing and impressions. First, let's unbox this bad boy, and then let's actually get into the nitty-gritty of it. So here we go, people. This is the PlayStation Classic. I mean, look at this thing. I know it's gotten a bad rap for one reason or another, but you gotta at least admire the novelty of owning something like this. So it is kind of cool, and again, since you guys, like I mentioned before, it was my birthday not too long ago. I got this as a gift, so big shout outs to my brother for shooting this over to me. This is kind of cool. I was thinking about getting one too. Eventually when the price went really down. I know that it was been dropping pretty harshly recently, but this is the next best thing, and this is pretty awesome. So as you guys could tell, it's got that classic box look to it. You know, all the different games, or at least a bunch of the games that it has on here. I know it has about 20 different games. So actually no, this is all the games that it has on there. So okay, so pretty cool overall. But let's open this bad boy up. Let's take a look at the console and see what this is like. I'm gonna do this all in real time, since I'm a little bit giddy, and I'll probably talk about it, give my impressions afterwards later on, because this is pretty dope. One of the coolest things for me about the PlayStation, in general, the original PlayStation, was that I always associated with the smell of pizza, because I used to go to a friend's house back in New York, and we used to play PlayStation games, classic PlayStation games, at his place, and he used to live on top of a pizzeria, brick oven, stone, pizzeria in New York, like probably the best place in the world for good pizza. So that was like one of those life-changing experiences, and I had PlayStation to thank with that. Gotta hand it to PlayStation for having such a tightly packed box. But of course, let me put this bad boy over here, and then there you go. There goes the PlayStation logo in this box. Let's open this bad boy up. Here we go. Open it up. It's another box. Look, we're going to be opening up like 4 or 5 boxes, I bet you. That's going to be hilarious. And then there's just another box there. Let me put the PlayStation logo there on the side. Then our manual. I guess it's got a classic feel to it, because this is how some of the PlayStation manuals used to be for the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2. I don't think so with the PlayStation 3, but again, a lot of classic feel because it's the PlayStation Classic. But let's open this up here. This has got to be the console here. Okay, here we go. There it is. It's a tiny little console, the PlayStation Classic. Let's open it up. Let me see if we can do this like this, and make sure I'm on camera, and pull it out. And there you go. That is the PlayStation Classic. Look how tiny this is compared to the original PlayStation, which the original PlayStation would make an outline, so it's like a little bit much more wider or bigger than this in general. And there goes the USB ports. There goes... It's based on the first model PlayStation, because we have the PSX, which is another version of the original PlayStation, which they were kind of going through a rebranding type of phase, and it didn't have this type of design, but this is based on the original design of the PlayStation Classic. Now, unfortunately, even though I wish this was the case, this doesn't play original PlayStation games. It would be dope if it was a little bit bigger and allowed you to do that. That would actually be kind of cool, Sony. Maybe you guys should do that, is all I'm saying. But for what this is, as far as the novelty of owning a console like this and owning a piece of tech that just does something like this, that allows you to relive, some classic memories. That's pretty awesome. Has an HDMI output. It's got a little AV output. I believe this here, is this anything here specific? Can't tell. Nope, nothing here specific. It just has got like little grooves and stuff. You got the inputs here for the controllers, which are USB controllers. I wonder if also you could use other controllers very similar to the ones that come in the box. And speaking of which, okay, there we go. So it's like 2 flaps on the side, and then it comes off. So that's how I do it. And there you go. We get an HDMI cable, which is good, to connect to the TV. So I'll put this right over here. We also get our 2 classic styled PlayStation controllers. Now, these aren't the DualShock controllers from the original PlayStation. I wish they were, because those controllers had the analog sticks, and I'm pretty sure, again, you could plug any sort of controller that's USB into this thing that has analog sticks. But if you want that classic feel, you obviously want to use one of these bad boys, because this was the controller that was put together with the original PlayStation at launch. Again, I have books that talk about this type of stuff. And then finally, here's a USB cable, which you could use it, to connect to any sort of like charger. One thing this does not come with that I noticed, and I think people talked about this in the past, doesn't come with a wall outlet, which is kind of disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I wish there was an actual brick thing to use alongside with this to connect it to the power outlet, on the wall. But even so, it's still pretty cool to have something kind of like this. Now, like I mentioned before, I know there's a lot of criticisms of the PlayStation Classic for one reason or another, but I'm going to give this bad boy a spin, kind of check it out, see what it's like, see how it is to play some of the games on there on my own TV, and I'll give you guys some cool impressions afterwards. So as you guys can tell, this is a pretty small classic console. It's very smaller compared to the original PlayStation unit. And to be honest with you, as a novelty item that's a collectible, it is pretty damn cool. You could just put this on like your mantle or on your desk or something, or next to some of your other classic collectibles like the SNES or the NES Classic. It'll fit right next to them. However, with that being said, besides the novelty of owning something like this, especially if you're a PlayStation fan, the big problem with the PlayStation Classic is the technical aspect of things. The games that are included with it, there's only 20 games that come with this, and trust me, there are so many more games that are kind of like defining of the PlayStation legacy, but what's really disappointing is just the way that Sony handled all the games that are included in this thing. The biggest problem with the PlayStation Classic is that the games included in here are all over the place. We are here in the United States, we're in North America, so we get NTSC-styled region games. However, for whatever reason, Sony just included the PAL version of some of these games in here, which is really confusing to me. For anybody who doesn't know, the PAL versions of games that come from Europe are a little bit different than the ones we have here in the United States and in North America. They run a little bit differently on the technical aspect of stuff. If you want a really big detailed discussion of that, you can find that all over the place with the web. But the main big difference here is that they run a little bit slower compared to the ones that we have here in the United States. As opposed to running to like, I think it's like a certain specific type of frame rate, they run a little bit slower because of their TVs that would work right for them. When you run it here in the United States on like a specific TV from here, all of a sudden you'll notice that the game is going much slower and it looks like completely out of whack. And that's the big problem with some of these games included here in the PlayStation Classic. I can think of at least, 5 games that are included here that had that big issue. And it really sucks, especially for games like Tekken 3, which have to be fast and you have to have like quick reactions and stuff. But when dealing with some of these types of problems in here, it's a real big shame. So besides the games, what about the rest of the hardware that's included with this thing? We have this controller here, which is the dog bone style controller that's based on the original controller included with the first PlayStation during its launch. It's a real shame that we don't get the DualShock controller, which has the 2 analog sticks and has the rumble feature, but I can only imagine the nightmare that Sony probably would have had to deal with if they decided to go with that controller. It probably would have been a little bit more expensive, especially much more bigger price tag for this thing than probably what we got now. But even so, it is kind of cool to still get that kind of cool nod based on the original launch of the PlayStation. The only other thing that I find really annoying about the contents of the package with the PlayStation Classic is that it doesn't come with a brick to actually plug into the wall. It comes with HDMI cables, it comes with an actual USB mini cable, which is fine and dandy. However, I still would at least, wanted something to plug into my wall outlet in order to power this thing on. I know that some people have said like maybe it's not such a big deal, everybody has like wall outlets like that. However, you never know somebody's current situation. It actually would have been something that would have been much more beneficial to some of the people out there if that was included. You could plug this into your computer and still power it up, or you can plug it to any other type of like wall outlet that you have on your person, but still, I feel like that's something that should have been in the package with everything else. Now, the other thing I want to comment on is the selection of games itself. We only get 20 games included here in the PlayStation Classic, and admittedly, some of them are really good picks. I would have probably included them in my own personal list. However, some of the big classics from this specific era of gaming are completely missing for one reason or another. Obviously, the biggest problems here is that we don't get no Crash, we get no Spyro, we get no Castlevania Symphony of the Night. There's so many games that define the PlayStation era of gaming that are just not given any sort of nod here. That could be for any sort of like, rights reasons, not working with the publishers or whatnot, or any other types of stuff here and there. Maybe Sony just wanted to focus on specifically Sony Computer Entertainment games, but even then, some of them are just not as big classics as like something compared to like, Crash Bandicoot 2 or Symphony of the Night. Again, the list just goes on and on. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, like there's just so many games that are from third parties that I really don't understand whether if Sony actually went to some of these publishers or if they didn't. If they didn't, huge missed opportunity, because again, there's so many games you could have included in this thing. So now let's address the big elephant in the room, which is what everybody's talked about with this PlayStation Classic, and that's modding the actual console. So let me say this straight from the very beginning, is that I don't endorse piracy or anything of that sort. I know that it's a very gray area, it's a much more complicated and nuanced discussion, but let's just put that right out there from the very forefront, because I know certain people feel a certain way about this one way or the other. With that out of the way, let's be honest for a second. A lot of people mod and hack this console to put some of the other games they wish were included on this thing right out of the package. I could totally understand where people are coming from with that. There are just so many other games you could just put onto this thing to really have a true PlayStation Classic library that would just be the defining, collection of games of this console. With my PlayStation Classic right here, I did go through the process of doing stuff like that, and including a couple other games that I felt like should have been included here. It's not really a complicated process, depending on which method you go about it. I'm not going to get into the specific method that I did, but I did go through a couple of them just to see what you could do and what could be done and stuff. And I felt like at least it was easy enough for the common person, even if they just go out and buy this thing straight from the store, to do it themselves and completely change up the experience that the PlayStation Classic has to offer. Is it something that's perfect by any stretch of the imagination? Not entirely. Again, this is homebrew stuff. This is stuff that's really tinkered around with fans of the PlayStation brand, or just people that are in the gaming community really coming up with these clever ideas to make things that we love even better. So again, you might run into a few hiccups here and there, but still, at least the option is there, and it's something that really takes this type of little miniature console to the next level. Personally, for me, I wish that Sony made a little bit more of an effort to really kind of go all out with the PlayStation Classic. I feel like they could have really had a winner on their hand, and probably even done stuff like the PlayStation 2 Classic, maybe even a PlayStation 3 Classic down the line. I don't know how logistically that would work, but still, the potential was there. People love this type of stuff, especially if they're very nostalgic for different eras of video games. Anyway, people, those are my thoughts and my unboxing of the PlayStation Classic. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys have your own opinions about the PlayStation Classic, whether you own one or not. Let me know what's up in the comment section down below. Tell me, do you own a PlayStation Classic? Have you fiddled around with it? What are some of your favorite PlayStation era games? Put all of that in the comment section down below. And of course, as always, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos just like this one, all my reviews, all my podcast talk shows. There's a lot of great content I know you guys are gonna love. And also, please don't forget to check out my Patreon page. There's links in the description box down below. For the dollar level or higher, you're gonna get a ton of exclusive content, including early access to new videos, exclusive podcasts, exclusive vlogs, and a whole bunch of other great stuff. Definitely check it out when you get the chance. Links in the description box down below. Anyway, guys, I will talk to all of you again very soon. Peace out, and stay epic, everybody. Thanks for watching this video, everyone. Make sure you guys check out some of these other videos in the boxes after the credits, and don't forget to visit my Patreon page via the annotations for more exclusive content. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Peace out, and stay epic, everybody.